Forced drugging, kidnapping, rape, intimidation in at least 2 states. This is what attorney Tyrone Blackburn is alleging T.I. and Tiny are guilty of. And if that was not bad enough, he also says that T.I. abused and terrorized 3 young boys and their pregnant mother, and it caused her to go into early labor. Blackburn is the attorney representing 11 of some 30 alleged victims of T.I. and Tiny. We've learned there may be as many as 100 women and men coming forward with claims, and some with receipts that the New York Times has verified that the couple sexually assaulted and drugged them.
Allegedly.
T.I. is the father who claimed that he checked to see if his 18-year-old daughter's hymen was intact at the gynecologist while celebrating his tween sons having sex. He may find himself in prison fighting off inmate passes. The allegations span 15 years, and though the couple's reality show has been axed over the allegations, their attorney says that Clifford, T.I., Tiny, Tamika, both last name Harris, the couple deny in the strongest possible terms the unsubstantiated and baseless allegations. Blackburn has sent letters to authorities in California, Florida, and Georgia asking them to launch investigations into the claims of drugs and sexual abuse. Allegations against the Harrises first came to light weeks ago on social media after the couple's former friend Sabrina Peterson posted on her Instagram account the rapper had put a gun to her head, and she said though she didn't call the police at the time, when she shared her story, multiple women came to her and claimed they had also been sexually assaulted, drugged, and abused by the couple. T.I. says that whatever he and his wife did with anyone else was between consensual adults. Blackburn also represents Peterson. He held a virtual press conference, and here are the key highlights of that conference. Now, the alleged 11 victims include 10 women. 3 are non-sexual assault clients, and they are accusing T.I. and Tiny and their team of terroristic threats. The New York Times reported that it had spoken with 5 of the alleged victims. Times says it reviewed messages and photos in 3 of those cases that backed up the timeline of those alleged victims' claims. Blackburn says that the attorney for the Harrises asked for the names of the women and wanted some kind of deal.
He wants to know who the witnesses are. He wants to know when the incidents occurred. He wants to know all the evidence, and I refuse to provide that to him because T.I. has a reputation of threatening people. He has a reputation of intimidating people. And I promise these women that I will not expose them to that kind of treatment and behavior from him or from anyone he's affiliated or associated with. So the only people that will know the identities of these women are the authorities. That is the best course to take. That way these women are protected from T.I. and his associates. What they're seeking is justice. That's all they've been seeking this entire time, justice. These women have never put forth a request for money. They've never asked for money. You cannot consent if someone put Molly into a drink. I think the drink of choice for a lot of them, from what they told me, was Sprite. He had a can of Sprite, and he was telling them to drink out of this can of Sprite. Case of Jane Doe 2, which happened in LA, you cannot consent if Tiny spikes Patron and hands you a Patron and tells you to sip this, and then all of a sudden you lose control of your decision-making skills. And I want all women who have been affected and impacted by T.I. and Tiny to come forward. You do not have to worry about having your identities disclosed. I will not do that. You do not have to worry about having your witnesses' identities disclosed. I will not do that. Come forward, tell your story. It will be provided to the authorities and have them do the investigation. There was a young man who was 8 years old who had a gun put to his head by T.I. His mother called the police. His mother had, this incident occurred at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. His mother called the police. His mother was 7 months pregnant at the time. His mother went into premature labor as a result of this. T.I. put a gun to the 8-year-old kid's head, to a 6-year-old kid's head, and to a 4-year-old kid's head because he had 2 little brothers with him. He's now in his 20s. I spoke with him, and I submitted a FOIA request and I got a copy of the police report. There is nothing in the police report that indicates what occurred on that day, which is very troubling to me. The police report literally says that this was a breaking and entering, a kidnapping, and I believe it's mentioned the battery. No evidence, no investigation occurred, no detail of the accounts, nothing. This kid who is now in his 20s can remember down to the cereal he was eating at the time. Yet and I'm sorry for raising my voice because this upsets me, yet the DeKalb County Police Department had zero record of his account in this statement, and no kind of investigation was conducted. So I have zero faith in the local authorities doing the right thing. I don't know what TI's relationship is with them, but it seems that something is fishy is going on, and I really want the federal investigators to take a hold of this case. And if the state can do it, I'll prefer the state speak to the witnesses and to do the investigation that way. Focusing on the criminal investigation. My primary focus is to get these women justice. That's it. If we're gonna file a civil suit, we will cross that bridge when we get there. But at this point in time, my only focus is getting these women justice, making sure that TI and Tiny and their associates are held accountable for the reign of terror that they visited upon these women. These women have suffered immensely throughout the years. The girl that was Jane Doe 1 was in the top 10% of her class, her senior class, when she interned for them. Scholar student, graduates from high school, goes to college and drops out her sophomore year. That makes absolutely no sense. She was addicted to drugs as a result of this as well, fought hard to get her life back, is in therapy, and is continuing to go through therapy right now. Jane Doe 2 was suicidal as a result of this. Okay? Jane Doe 6 was suicidal as a result of this. Jane Doe 4 was required to go through intense therapy as a result of this. This is about justice. This is not about dollars. This is about making sure that these women get what they've been longing for so long. This is about getting them what they thought they would not have gotten, but for Sabrina Peterson coming forward and making the claims noticed. The New York Times article spelled it out pretty well, because the Times are very, very thorough with their investigation, and they saw a lot of the evidence that we have, and they spoke to the witnesses. So I'm going to leave it there. I think the Times mentioned the type of evidence that they was privy to, and I'm just going to leave it at the Times and wait for the investigation to start and provide them with whatever else that we have. The deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I. For what they've done throughout the years. And at that point in time, we will assess whether or not we will be bringing any civil charges. You know, these women want justice, and he wanted to know the names. He was insistent on learning who the individuals were and what evidence that they had, and he wanted to know who their witnesses were. And I said to him, made it very clear, I will not be exposing these women to you or to your clients. The only people that will know their names will be the investigators, because your client has a reputation of intimidation. Your client has a reputation, I should say, of committing violent acts. And he's threatened some of these women in real time when the incidents occurred. And he's had his staff or his colleagues threaten them. So why would I provide you with their identities so you can intimidate them now again?
Steve Sadow, the attorney for T.I. and Tiny, states, in response to this interview, Clifford, T.I., and Tamika Harris deny in the strongest possible terms these unsubstantiated and baseless allegations. We are confident that if these claims are thoroughly and fairly investigated, no charges will be forthcoming. These allegations are nothing more than the continuation of a sordid shakedown campaign that began on social media. The Harrises implore everyone not to be taken in by these obvious attempts to manipulate the press and misuse the justice system. The attorney then does continue on with the following. He states, I understand that a virtual press conference today, Attorney Blackburn claimed the Harrises reached out to him through me to supposedly make a deal. That is patently false. I reached out to see if he would share any information since his name was posted on Instagram as the attorney for Sabrina Peterson. Blackburn repeatedly refused to provide the names of his accuser clients or any corroborating or supporting evidence of his groundless claims. The Harrises repeat, they are confident if a thorough and fair investigation is conducted, no charges will be brought.